What actions should Doug have taken, given that Doug had been in this unhappy marriage for 30 years? What actions should he have taken as a result? Instead of pursuing his wife like mad, he should have been doing such. It was his responsibility to love her in the same way that Christ loves the church. Is it true that Christ pursues? Furthermore, if his marriage was truly so terrible, then he had no business being in the ministry in the first place. He ought to have been working in the ministry of marriage. Without a doubt, Doug was acting in an inappropriate manner, particularly once we discovered that he had already been divorced for a year and continued to counsel at his counseling center without informing any of the staff members that he was divorced. Although he continued to attend counseling sessions, he continued to charge the same exorbitant amount of money for the information that he said was making his marriage to Lisa a wonderful one, yet they ended up getting divorced. Being dishonest is not a cool thing to do. It would have been more responsible of him to simply be honest and say, "Hey, we got divorced. Despite the fact that it did not improve our marriage, I continue to spread the same information. Perhaps it will help your partnership." It was not a fantastic idea, but at least he would have been more honest in the moment, that is for sure. On the contrary, he was extremely dishonest, and there was merely a great deal of events that took place in the timeline. It is very upsetting to observe. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for returning to our channel. If you are new to our site, you should make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so that you are never left out of any updates. In this day, we are going to go into the discussion regarding the marriage of Joni Lamb, who is the widow of Marcus Lamb, who passed away, to one of the most well-known marriage counselors in the Christian world. Doug Weiss has been the subject of a significant amount of criticism. Issues have been made about the date of Doug Weiss' divorce from Lisa Weiss, his wife of more than 30 years, which took place barely 2 months after Marcus Lamb's passing. This relationship has brought up a lot of issues, notably over the timing of the divorce. Many people, including Jonathan and Susie Lamb, have expressed their concerns, arguing that Doug's divorce was not justified by biblical principles, and that Joni is not the same woman she was when she married him. We have turned to licensed marriage counselors Joel and Kathy Davidson, who have been assisting problematic couples in moving from pain to outrageous delight for almost 20 years, in order to assist us in unpacking this issue through their expertise. They have been very vocal in their opposition to this marriage, stating that it was not conducted in a manner that was consistent with the ideals found in the Bible. If Doug's marriage was as bad as he now claims it was, then the Davidsons contend that he should not have been in ministry, giving counsel on marriage, when he was living in an unstable marriage for a number of years. Suddenly, after they had divorced, he made the accusation that Lisa was abusive, despite the fact that he had publicly hailed her as an outstanding wife. In light of this, an important question arises. Was he lying back then, or is he lying here and now? We are informing everyone that these are actually the facts. He should not have done that if his marriage was that terrible, and if he continued to teach people and counsel people even after he was divorced, stating things like, "These are the steps that made my marriage great." He was telling a lie. Despite the fact that he was divorced, he was lying, and then he kept charging all of this money. I can't believe it. At this very moment, I am kind of still waiting for the reaction that is going to occur as a direct result of that specifically. Oh my gosh, without a doubt, I was thinking to myself, all right, what exactly is going to take place? Due to the fact that I am unable to conceive, a negative reaction is not going to occur. As far as Doug Weiss is concerned, the bottom line is that he is allegedly, well, he is not allegedly a liar. He was dishonest. Either he has been lying to people for the past 30 years, telling them how wonderful his marriage was, or he is currently lying to them, telling them how terrible his marriage was. According to the allegations, if he had been lying for 30 years, telling people how wonderful his marriage was, then he would be considered a con artist, since he would be selling his services by telling people that his marriage was all that it was. Happiness, and that taking these actions will bring happiness to their marriage. Once again, this makes him a con artist because he has been lying for 30 years. It is possible that he was telling the truth at the time, and while it is true that he has been telling the truth for 30 years, it is also possible that he is lying now. It's possible that he was just interested in marrying Joni, and as a result, he's doing what every narcissistic man does, blaming his wife for the trouble in their marriage. This is Doug's way of continuing his practice of blaming Lisa for everything. Similar to how I blamed Kathy for our marriage issues, I blamed her for ours. We had 1 year of success followed by 9 years of failure. I blamed Kathy for everything that happened over the course of 9 years. After that, I realized that I was entirely to blame, and we were able to recover our marriage. Not only was it somewhat my fault, but it was also partially Kathy's fault. It was entirely my fault. Should Doug have been dishonest for 30 years about the quality of his marriage, then he would be considered a scam artist. If he is still lying about Lisa being the issue, then he is still making others believe that he is telling the truth. The integrity of his and Joni Lamb's ministry is called into doubt regardless of the circumstances. In addition, the timing of everything has caused eyebrows to be raised. The divorce between Doug and Lisa took place only 2 months after Marcus Lamb's dying. After that, he and Joni became engaged within a few short months. There is a widespread belief that Joni, in the midst of her loss, may not have been thinking properly, and that Doug, rather than assisting her in her healing process, took advantage of her sensitive state. Jonathan Lamb, the son of Marcus and Joni, has voiced his profound apprehensions regarding this marriage. He has stated that his mother has undergone a transformation and that his father's final wishes were taken into consideration. There is no theological justification for Doug's divorce, according to his wife Susie, as well as his sisters Rachel and Rebecca, who have publicly declared their opinions. Additionally, this brings up another important point. Joni Lamb, in her role as a leader in Christian media and ministry, was obligated to promote the ideals that are found in the Bible. She should have sent Doug back to his wife when he called, and she should have encouraged him to seek reconciliation rather than allowing him to explore the idea of a relationship so soon after the death of her husband. What is the appropriate reaction that Joni ought to have provided in accordance with the Bible when Doug contacted her? What Joni ought to have done when Doug came knocking was to respond with a "Doug, no" sentence. What exactly are you doing? Never again do I want to have a conversation with you. Your wife is waiting for you. There is no way that you are going to come and try to get into my trousers. Doug, you should return to your wife. My hubby simply passed away. I need a few years to get my head on straight and recuperate from the trauma I've experienced. And even after that 2 years, if you haven't returned to Lisa, you should never call me again at any point in the future. Are you attempting to make a move on me before my spouse has even been gone for 2 years? After all, he has only been dead for 7 months, right? And you begin to make moves towards me? Did you get a divorce from your wife 2 months after the passing of my husband? Oh, Doug, no. I want you to be gone from my life irrevocably. It's possible that I'll run across you in heaven at some point in the future, but I'll be there regardless of whether or not you're there. Get your act together, get your mind on right, and either repent or get reborn in the name of Jesus. You had better get your act together. It would have been better for Joni to do that. There is no doubt about that. Certainly, and let's not forget that Lisa had the intention of working towards restoration, but Doug made the decision to divorce Joni and marry her as swiftly as possible rather than fighting for his marriage. It is not found in the Bible. That is not the kind of love that he preached to others as an example of that Christ-like character. He devoted a significant amount of time to counseling couples and campaigning for the repair and healing of relationships. On the other hand, when he was confronted with challenges in his own marriage, he decided to dissolve it rather than employ the values that he advocated for. Joel and Kathy offer their advice, asking what Doug ought to have done in the situation. The best course of action would have been for him to ignore Joni and return to his wife. It would have been more appropriate for him to apologize to his children, apologize to the employees at his company, and then take a step back and pursue Lisa, as this is what Christ would have done. In addition, what about Jimmy Evans, a well-known clergyman and marriage counselor who was a supporter of this union? According to the Davidsons, he did not fulfill his responsibilities to hold Doug accountable for his actions. Not only has this hasty remarriage caused damage to Doug and Joni, but it has also caused damage to the reputation of marriage ministry as a whole. Instead of pushing Doug to reconcile with Lisa, he appears to have chosen to give his blessing to this rapid remarriage. As a result, what are our options? There is a widespread belief that this circumstance serves as a cautionary story about the ways in which personal desires and emotions can distort scriptural judgment. It is detrimental not only to the personal credibility of those in positions of authority in the ministry, but also to the Christian testimony that is presented to the world when they fail to put their words into action. I am curious about your ideas. Do you think that the marriage between Doug Weiss and Joni Lamb was appropriate according to the Bible? Regarding the subject of marriage and divorce, should those who hold positions of authority in Christian ministry be held to a higher standard? In the comment section below, please share your ideas. In addition, before we leave, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Enjoy your blessings until we meet again.